Hello and welcome to our webinar, Migrate Applications to Nutanix, where we'll provide some insight into moving from your existing virtual infrastructure. A quick look at what we'll go through today, covering the migration challenge, the available solutions and the methods. We'll have a demo of the test drive environment that you will be able to access yourselves, wrapping up with a Q&A. And presenting today, we have myself, James. I'm a senior engineer at 4Fusion, and we also have Alexandra, Nutanix systems engineer. For the migration challenge. So why rethink VMware? Since Broadcom's acquisition of VMware, we've seen many organizations looking at alternatives, increased costs, and a change to the license and support model is one of the reasons. But it also provides an opportunity to evaluate the immediate and future needs of your virtual platform. What you need: simpler operations and support. Is the aim to reduce the total cost of ownership or the overall footprint, or apps that can run on a single platform, whether on premises or in the cloud? It's likely to be a combination or indeed all of the above. A simpler path forward for you. Why 4Fusion? 4Fusion have a wealth of experience in the design, implementation, and support of IT infrastructure for a variety of customers across enterprise and regulated sectors. I myself have worked on projects including virtual and storage migrations, infrastructure replacement, upgrades, and data center networking. And how do we at 4Fusion reduce the migration risk? So we use the ideology transformation methodology. So that's assess, design, integrate, operate. Each phase is important, but it starts with a thorough assessment. And the assess phase may be broken down further, perhaps including a workshop to clarify the needs and goals, followed by a deep dive into the existing infrastructure, then an evaluation of the appropriate platforms or alternative options. Depending on the project parameters, the design phase can consist of high-level, low-level designs, test and migration plans, further workshops, regular communication between us and the clients to make sure all design decisions are aligned. The integrate phase is where we'll use those designs and plans to build, configure the hardware, software, deploy and test before adding the components into production environments. And the planned migrations will then be carried out. This leads to the operate phase, which includes as-built or operational documents and a structured handover to the customer or for Fusion's managed services team. And we recently worked with Nutanix to successfully migrate Killick & Co.'s entire virtual environment from VMware to Nutanix. Not just the hypervisor, but the underlying infrastructure and networking. As in the previous slide, assessment was key. After some conversations to understand the desired outcomes and an interrogation of the entire virtual environment, we were able to propose a solution comprising of Nutanix clusters and 2 data centers. Once designed, I myself worked with Nutanix consultant on the deployment. The workloads were migrated with the Killick team, and now everything is running on Nutanix. This is a nice, clear statement from Anthony Wood, the infrastructure and network manager at Killick. This quote's from a case study that we've done, which is now available on the 4Fusion and the Nutanix websites. So what do we use for a smooth migration? The Nutanix cloud platform. So this is not simply replacing hypervisors. As it says, this is a platform for all apps, data, and AI anywhere. from storage architecture to container solutions, on-prem to public cloud with streamlined management and observability. We could spend a lot of time discussing each individual solution here or multiple, but for the purpose of this session, we'll focus on the bottom left there, which is the Nutanix cloud infrastructure. So AOS is the hyper-converged infrastructure software that controls storage operations, provides resiliency by replicating the data across cluster nodes. AHV is the hypervisor that runs on top, and we should point out that there is no additional cost for this as it is included with an AOS license. So what is AHV? It's the virtualization platform that is ready to host your applications. The infrastructure and the virtual environment can both be managed from the same interface, Prism, reducing operational complexity and management overhead. And we should look at NC2, which is these kind of cloud clusters as well. So it's one platform to run your apps and your data anywhere across a hybrid multi-cloud. So your migration is not restricted to on-prem. The same Nutanix software that runs in your private cloud also runs in your public cloud instances. Unifying management, enabling consistency. This example shows GCP, but you can also use others like AWS and Azure, of course. Why do customers opt for Nutanix? I'll mention a couple of things. Yeah. So freedom of choice is a main one. Nutanix software is vendor agnostic, so it can be installed on your hardware or your cloud vendor of choice. It's one unified platform, so it provides consistency across private and public clouds. It also has the benefit of reducing complexity in management. There are fewer accounts, licenses, upgrades to juggle, resulting in a lower TCO. So what can the Nutanix hybrid multi-cloud platform do for you? These figures are an example of some of the benefits of NC2. So you can build a hybrid cloud in hours compared to days, weeks, or months so that you can accelerate the transformation initiatives. You can manage all of your data centers, clouds, and edge endpoints as one for a consistent, secure operating environment. Built-in security not only prevents and detects security threats, but also helps to prevent data loss and ensures continuous business operations. Can deliver 53% more efficient IT infrastructure management. So that efficiency means you can focus on what's important. If you're looking at moving to public clouds, and you can migrate workloads up to 60% faster versus refactoring the applications. And it enables total portability for all workloads, including licenses, to ensure optimal placement of every workload today and in future. Migrating to and from is made easier with Nutanix Move. We can see here that moving to Nutanix from another hypervisor is one use case, but moving bidirectionally between your private and your public clouds is also possible. Move is installed as a VM, source and target environments are added. And going back to the importance of our assess phase, an assessment report would be created prior to a migration plan. And this will identify any VMs that may require additional steps or remediation before a move. The majority of Windows and Linux-based VMs will be migrated using Move. The data is seeded and synchronizes until time to cut over to the new platform. And cut over, that scene generally takes about a minute while the VM is brought up on the Nutanix platform, so there's not much downtime or maintenance windows required. I'll just show a couple of slides illustrating what you can expect to see in the application itself. So within Move, we'll create migration plans, selecting source and target first. You then choose VMs to migrate, so you'd have batches identified that you would move at once and make sure everything works together. and which network you're going to connect the NICs on those VMs to. The VM preparation includes adding credentials or sometimes running a script to install drivers and other functions prior to migrating. The move itself can install those uh, drivers to make sure it's up and running. But it depends on the credentials. But this slide shows the migrations underway at the top half there. So it includes a move in progress and one validating prior to starting the data seeding. The bottom half illustrates a VM is ready to cut over. That is syncing, so then it can be done with one click. You'll see this in the test drive to get a better view. Speaking of which, I'll now pass you to Alexandra from Nutanix. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'll just share my screen right now. Um, are you able to see it? Is it showing? Great.
Yes, it's showing. Thanks.
Great. So I'll talk a little bit about Nutanix and then I'll jump into the test drive and show you how to use it on all the features about it. But if you've heard about Nutanix, we've been here for quite a bit. So since our in creation in 2009, we've had a lot of growth. We every year or every single other year, we've had a new partnership or a new thing in the works. And wherever you met us in our journey up until today, you probably know us for something else. So initially, we were known for our storage, which was defined by the hyperconverged storage that we use. That's kind of our bread and butter. At some point, it's the hypervisor. Sometimes it's the Kubernetes or AI, wherever it would be. We do all of them. So it's not just a particularly thing that we do. We have partnerships with multiple people. We work in the cloud. We work on-prem. We have storage. We have networking, and we have a lot of other things that I'm excited to show you. So essentially, what we have right now with the Nutanix platform, it's quite vast. So as James has mentioned before, hypervisor, which is part of our Nutanix cloud infrastructure, that's the basics of where we get started. So this is where you would have your general um, day-to-day infrastructure, your compute, your storage, your networking. We also have storage in terms of files and objects. We have database services, Kubernetes, which is up and coming. We have some cloud manager options. So think machine learning or AI operations that can help you fast track a lot of the services that you might have. We have our lifecycle manager that offers one-click upgrades or NC2 that was brought up before, Nutanix Cloud Cluster that includes AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and many other cloud platforms that we work with. But essentially, what I hope everybody can take away from this slide is that the promise of Nutanix. So you can run any application anywhere. So if you look at the top, you have your enterprise application, your modern application, your analytics, your databases, your desktop, all running through the Nutanix Cloud Platform, and that you can put anywhere. So whether it would be on-prem, on the edge, in the cloud, wherever you would want it to be, we are able to make it run. So another thing that was brought up before is Nutanix freedom of choice. So we do not lock you in any terms of choice that you make. As I was said before, we are hardware agnostic. So you can use any hardware you want from any of our partners, whether it's Dell, Lenovo, Nutanix. We have our own branded ones, Supermicro branded ones, Cisco. So whatever you might want to use, we are able to accommodate you in terms of what hardware itself you want. We can also accommodate you in terms of the hypervisor. So we have our HV, which is mentioned as part of the Nutanix offering, and it comes free. But we also support vSphere. We also support Kubernetes. So whatever you might run, we have an available solution for you. Again, the cloud choices, AWS, Azure, GCP, OVH. So we are present in a lot of cloud environments. So however you might want to build your solution, we can build one that can work for you and whatever needs that you might have. Move itself is a tool that we've had for a long time. It's a tool that we also use internally at Nutanix. It's not just something we provide for our customer, it's one of our core things that we also use. We've had it for more than 7 years. We've used it with thousands of customers. We've had over 500,000 VM migrations, and it can accommodate any kind of system that you want. So whether it's Windows, Ubuntu, whether it's Oracle, whatever it may be, we are able to use this tool and to move from one place to another, wherever you might need it. Now, in terms of how the migration actually works, I have a little workflow here that might help you understand. So firstly, the step that's most common is discover and assess. So you will look at your virtual machines. You will see, what do I want to keep? What do I want to migrate? Do I need to refactor anything? Do I need to change anything? Do I need to reprovision anything? After you have decided what you want to move, then comes migration VM plans. So we do migrations through migration plans. So essentially, you can group together virtual machines and send them in the same plan. So say from environment A to environment B, and you can group the VMs based on different plans. So for example, you can put all of your production virtual machines into one plan. You can put your testing ones in another, your backups in another. So whatever you can divide them as you want. And I think you can have up to 50 virtual machines per migration plan, so more than enough to divide them based on what you need. After you create the migration plan, you select where you want to migrate from to where you want to migrate to. Then that is when the data seeding starts. So what we do is we send um, data bit by bit to the target location. So think of it maybe as sending letters from a sentence rather than the whole sentence itself. And we periodically sync the virtual machines from one place to another until you are ready to perform the cutover. So what this means is the seeding has been completed. You are able to power on the virtual machine on the new environment. So when you click cutover, essentially it powers on from site A, powers on site B, and you're able to start using your virtual machine. And the cutover takes not that much, depending on what you're migrating. It varies, but um, it shouldn't take long because we've done all of that syncing and migrating before. So we've already done the bulk part of what you need to move. So essentially, it's just the little pieces syncing and coming on the in the new environment. You can also verify if you want to wait until you do the cutover. So we have a testing option that you'll be able to see, where essentially you can provide a separate network if you want, or the same one, and you're able to test this migration if it actually works. So before you move any of the actual virtual machines, you do a test, you see how it works, how long it takes to power on, are there any differences? If you're not happy, you can go and tweak some things in the migration plans, but essentially it allows you to perform the migration without actually performing it. So you are able to see how it reacts, how it works, and you're not putting your important production or anything else in danger doing so. Once you're satisfied, you've completed all the migrations from the virtual machines that you've selected. The migration is complete, and you're able to run in your new environment. We can move a lot of things with Move. So essentially, it's not a one pony trick where you move from ESXi to AHV or to whatever other Nutanix offering. You can use it for a lot of things. So it doesn't have to be necessarily the hypervisor move. You can move, for example, from the cloud to on-prem. You can move from on-prem to the cloud, from AWS to Azure. Um, Even files. So it's not just a tool that you will use once, you'll put in a corner and you'll never forget about it. You're able to use it whenever you want and for whatever need that you might have at that point. Um, so now I'll just jump into the demo. So let me share my other screen. Are you able to see the page?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
So right now we are in the Move test drive that we've been talking about. So as you can see, we have a little bit of a story of what we can do, and I'll just follow through on the first step, and hopefully you'll enjoy migrating the actual virtual machines in the next two steps. So it is guided, but I'll talk through with it. So if you want to do this by yourself and you're whenever you want, or you want to complete any of these, it's very much explained to you, and you're not just put in front of um, a page and let don't know where to go. So here we have the move tool. We can see here we have where you would go with migration plans, where you would create them. But the first step, as we can see here, is to select the source and the target. Then the next step would be to add the virtual machines to the migration plans. And lastly, just move the virtual machines. So here, to add an environment, we just click on Add. We can select the type. So this can be VMware, Nutanix, Azure, AWS. So it's not just one of them, as I mentioned before. Let's select Nutanix AOS. Then you would input your credentials, so your environment name, how to contact that environment, what's the user and the password, so that the move is able to log into it and see your virtual machines and see all the informations. After it, we can add another environment. So in this case, we would want the SXI. Again, same steps. What's your environment name? The standalone ESX host. What's the username and the password? So you'll be able to see your virtual machines in there. After you're satisfied with it, you can see we have environments added. So as I said before, this is not just ESXi to AOS. It can be anything you want. And once you add in an environment, it will stay there. So for example, here we can see we have our AWS. We can see it includes 17 regions. We have our 17 regions in this case of an example, but it would depend on what you have on your AWS account. You have your ESXi that we just added, the VMware vCenter and the address for it, how many virtual machines are present in there. Our Azure one, so how many locations again, how many virtual machines, our AOS, two AOS platforms in this case, and their address and how many virtual machines are present on there. If you want to edit or change any of them, that's also possible. You change something in the environment, you want to redo anything, you can validate it. So you can check if the connection between the move tool and the um, environment is still active. You can remove it if that's not a site that you're using anymore. You can refresh again to just reestablish the connection, or you can edit it. So we go to the same page as before. We can see all the information that we inputted, and we can change it, edit it, and make sure that everything is correct. Then can do the same for the AOS one. Again, we click on edit. We see if all the information is correct. And the next step in this case is to start creating migration plans. So I'll let you discover the joy of migration plans and the actual migration. And I'll just show you a little bit about the test drive as well, so you have an idea of how it works. So I have it open here. You will have a link at the end of the presentation that you'll be able to access and use to access the test drive. So it's not just a move test drive. We have everything that you might want to look over and try out. So you can look at them by solution. So am I looking for cloud infrastructure? Am I looking for databases? Am I looking for unified storage? Or you can do it by product. So if you're familiar with Nutanix products, you would be able to look at it. But if you're just want to looking at solutions, you can start. So here is the one that we were looking at before, the move. Let's look at it by solutions. I can show you, we have the um, database operations, we have VDIs, cloud managers, how to build the Nutanix cloud clusters that were mentioned before on AWS. We have your storage needs. We can see we can keep going down. I thought it could be good to show you this one, since it has a little insight into what the platform looks like a little bit, and I can show you just how it is. So if we connect to it, this is what it would look like when you use it yourself. You click on launch, you click connect. You have 2 hours, or depending on which one you use. And if you just click connecting to it, it will launch in another tab, hopefully. Might have to wait a second. Perfect. So we're logging into what would be the Nutanix console. So this is your main place where you would perform anything from day-to-day operations to everything that you might need. It's all present in one place. So this is the one management plane of data that James mentioned before. So as you can see here, you have your main dashboard, you have everything you would need. And here you can see your compute, your storage, your network, hardware, any administration. Here we have our menu. So this would be in the infrastructure menu. You also have your cloud manager. This would also include the files and other database service that you have. So it's all in one place. You're not logging into multiple different platforms for multiple different needs. This is all included in one place. And whenever you want a feature, you are just able to um, get the feature. So it would be, for example, sometimes grayed out. All you need to do is go into the licenses, click the button, and you're able to use the whole feature. So it's not a different process that you have to go through. Everything is included here and it's ready to use. It's a very intuitive platform. I don't know if you're familiar with many of them, but it's very easy to use. So if you want to go and compute, you have your virtual machine list. Here they're all present. You have your summary, everything you might need to know about them, what hypervisor they're on, are they set up, are they not set up, who's the owner, what project they're on. You have your storage as well, so all the containers or anything else that you might want to look at, they would be here. How much space do I have? What is it running on? Then our hardware information as well. So you have them all in one place. What am I running on? What is happening? I can even create ones. I have all the information with nice, I would say, nice graphics and um, easy to understand charts. Another thing that you can do is you can also run some automation operations. I think they would be here. But these are particularly my favorite. You can create reports automatically. You can create a low code, no code operations. You can have your capacity planning made for you. So the system can look at how you're using your resources and tell you you have this much resources based on what you're using. Maybe in a year or two, you should think about buying more storage or whatever it may be. So the platform is very intuitive and it's working for you to make it as simple as it can for you to be able to perform all of the operations that you might need. Are there any questions about this, or I don't know if I mentioned that you can ask questions through it, but we're waiting.
Alex, I'm not sure if there's a question in the chat.
Mhm. Yes. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can.
So it's is Nutanix Move a free of charge tool?
Yes. So it comes automatically with whatever Nutanix purchase you make. It can click, you can just get it and start working with it. So it comes for free and it stays for free. It's not something that you will have to pay for later. And just to show you, it would be here. So you can just click on get and you have it. Um, Same with the other ones. If you want to purchase any of these things, they come in packet, but anyway. But if you want to get any Nutanix options, you just click on get here and then you have them. But Move stays here. It will be in your owned applications forever and you can use it as many times as you want. It's not a uh it's free for you to use whenever you want, forever. Um, should we go into the next stages? But that was it for me. If you have any more
Mm.
questions or if you want me to answer anything about Move, Nutanix or anything like that, I'm happy to.
Yeah, I think we can carry on, and then if anybody has a question, just share it here. So now let's go back to the quiz. So we can scan the QR code here and it should be working this time round. And then it will open up Slido. So you just insert your name and then join Slido. So this is just a quick quiz to us to go through what James and Alex talked about. So I'll just share my share the Slido app here. Just wait for if anybody else will join. We've got Francesca, Caroline, Chris, Mark, Paul. Okay, I think we can get started. So before cutting over a workload, what steps help reduce migration risk? Okay. Which migration path is most closely aligned with today's Nutanix test drive? Which capability helps reduce downtime during a Nutanix migration? Okay. Everyone's going really well on this. According to the migration approach zone, what is not required when moving workloads to Nutanix? Okay. And lastly, what is a AHV in the context of Nutanix platform? Amazing. We have Francesca at number one, Mark at number two, Caroline at number three, Chris at number four, and Marty at number five. So congratulations. Um, Let me go back to the presentation. So lastly, this is the QR code that you can scan to access the Full Fusion test drive. After you complete the test drive, you can claim a £20 Amazon voucher as a thank you for completing the test drive. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to ask here, or of course, contact us at Nutanix or Full Fusion. And I'll also show the QR code to contact for Fusion as well. We'll also be sending the link to the test drive through email. Let me just see if there are any questions. Yes. Can customers complete any of those test drive scenarios? So yes, you can complete any of the test drive scenarios that you want to complete that are shown on that Alexandra showed. So feel free to complete any of the ones that you want to complete. Oh, we have one more question. Oh, I could. There's a Q&A session. Okay. So Mike's asking, is there any hardening guides available, such as SIS, STIG, NIST? Alexandra James, would you be able to answer that one?
Yes, there are some hardening guides. We did follow one of those during the deployment of the Killick one. There's SGIG guidelines, I'm sure. I'm not entirely sure about the other ones, but we can definitely clarify that if you get in touch.
Hi, James. Yes, there is definitely STIGs available for Nutanix, and you can implement those. So there's a piece of software that runs on Nutanix in the background. Can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's SCMA, and essentially it's an ongoing security policy which will monitor the Nutanix environment in the background.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark, for answering that. So if you guys have any questions, as I mentioned, please feel free to reach out to us at Nutanix or to Full Fusion, and we'll be happy to guide you through it. And thank you everybody for joining our webinar. It was a pleasure having you all here. Oh, I've just seen there's another question from Marty. So when talking about not refactoring applications, are there often any issues when using move for systems that are coded to the MAC address? Example, Kemp Load Master, or ever any issues with Windows systems BSOD during the move process with change in NIC drivers and etc.? No, that's okay. Don't worry, Marty.
I haven't seen anything, any blue screen of death or anything like that when we were doing any moves. The NICs were um, they're pre-installed before the move anyway, or like just before it's actually cut over. So we didn't see anything like that. Regarding the any systems coded to MAC address, um, I didn't experience any of that, but we did see some virtual appliances. Depending on the vendor, just needed to sort of redeploy that and migrate like the sort of back end. But everything was went across without any issue like that. Not sure about Alex. Have you come across that?
No, I was just thinking, personally not. I can definitely go and ask around if that's something that happened to anybody. How did that occur and what was the specific context of it? But personally, no, never had any issues.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it
just
may be a case of getting in touch with the vendors themselves for the to port licenses over and stuff like that.
it's
Sorry, Mark.
yeah. So just a comment from me. So MAC addresses. I know what you're saying. Whether they're coded to the actual virtual machine, MAC addresses are copied over as well. If you want those MAC addresses in case any network services rely on MAC addresses for virtual machines. The other thing to note as well is when you're doing that preceding and then you do the cutover, the original virtual machine does not get affected in any way, which means during that cutover process, if the virtual machine fails, the new one, you can still revert back to your previous one on VMware and do the reseeding again. So you've got that safety mechanism there.
You're welcome, Molly.
Mm. Okay. Um, so as I mentioned, if there's any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you so much for joining the webinar, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.